welcome back to Tablebreakers. We are doing episode, I believe it's 65 today, and this is Tablebreakers Narrative versus Simulationist versus Gamist, Part 2. My name is Bruce. Here's my Only Hands account. See how sexy it is. And here's my crew. My friend Baron G-Rock, Connell the Cigar DM, Shadow and Sun, Jaide of the Infinite Pontifications, and Kai of Saint Rant of Kai. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Howdy, folks.
So, hey, Bo, how you doing, sir? Crafting Gamer, Omanal. Thank you.
What's happening, Bo? Omen, everybody, hail to the chat.
So, who did we leave off on what of the triad?
I believe what we had left of the triad was the narrative, because we dug deep into the simulationist and gamist, but we really didn't touch the narrative side.
Okay. And I'm sorry for asking that question for some of you that just watched this. I did not. I slept since then.
What?
Well, not everybody talk at once.
No, I don't talk. You know that.
Kai responds. Kai responds with a salvo.
Look, yeah, that's how you're supposed to.
Taste of the broadside.
We don't fire warning shots. We fire everything.
I like to fire spicy sedans. If you get the reference, that's cool. If you don't, go check out the Fat Electrician. But not right now. Pay attention to us.
Yes.
It's only not a war crime the first time. Okay,
exactly.
So, Baron G-Rock, what would you describe as simulationist?
I mean, we kind of hit that, last week.
I know.
That's where
just to recap.
Oh, okay. Just to recap, the more of the simulationist is going to be the more of the style of play where they are in the world itself. They don't necessarily change the world; they just exist within the world.
So
and the things they do,
like 5 middle-aged gamers sitting around in theater of the mind speak on board the SS Mongoose, drifting through space, and they're trying to fight to get the life supports on. And for each interaction that one of the players has, you're saying that the GM would probably be like, well, you're not exactly thinking about the oxygen content of this room while you're exercising so hard. And would that be a good example of simulationist?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I would say what Connell likes to do is more simulation than that. Because Connell, you like to, when you read a book or experience a world of fiction, you like to make games to fit in that world of fiction. To me, that is, you are playing within that simulation, or you're trying to make a game within that simulation.
Yeah, that's fair. I've mentioned the name probably 100 times by now. The Dresden Files has an RPG out of Fate system. There are several. Doctor Who, which I've yet to try, and I heard it's just a shit show, has another
Every single one of
them,
and I've got them all. There hasn't been a good Doctor Who game yet.
It's all right.
But I like. I mean, it's not that I'm trying to steal from somebody else's idea. It's just I find some of these places be very interesting worlds and be fun to play inside that particular sandbox.
Okay.
Well, Connell, we all steal, whether we know it or not. It's impossible not to borrow from fiction or fact, fantasy, what have you. It's just the nature of the human existence. We have to do that. That's just all there is to it.
Oh yeah. What were you gonna say there, Bruce?
I was just going to ask, of all the Doctor Who RPGs, how would you rate the one from 1988?
Well, refresh my memory because that's the small like digest version.
I believe it is.
Yeah, with Sylvester McCoy. Sylvester McCoy's on the cover.
I think so, and it's such a trash RPG that you have to read it and do show prep, 8 hours of show prep for 1 hour of game prep, 1 hour of game time. But
yeah, like I said, they all suck. That one is probably actually my least favorite. The original, excuse me, guys, the white covers, the real simplistic covers, those ones were a little more enjoyable just because of they kind of put a little bit more work into what they had to work with, if that makes any sense. It was made, I think, God, back in the 70s. So they were really just working off everything up to Tom Baker, which, as everybody knows, Tom Baker was most people's favorite, not mine, but whatever. Definitely the most popular of all the doctors.
Tom Baker has such a great line. Hold on. Tom Baker had such a great line. What's the point of being an adult if you can't be childish every so often?
Tom Baker.
The other part was he was most of our first doctors, because the first iteration that we got to see of the Doctor was on PBS, and typically those were the episodes that they showed.
Absolutely.
All right, but
the other thing is that Tom Baker also played the finest Elven King in the history of Dungeons and Dragons movies.
He was also the bad guy in the Sinbad movie.
Yeah, he was.
That was almost his first gig, and that was a long time ago.
Four from the bottom of his IMDb profile, I believe. I gotta ask Kai. Kai, when I mentioned the 1988 Doctor Who RPG, what thoughts came to mind?
That is an unplayable mess. I'm glad someone wrote it just so we could see what a bad RPG looked like back in the 80s.
I could almost top that one with another one that would actually go with this topic.
Are we talking about the more modern one that was released during the 10th Doctor's reign?
No. I'm going into a different franchise when I say Dragon Ball Z RPG. All you need is D6s.
Oh, and that game? No. That game was actually a playable game.
I might have just had the wrong DM.
You wasn't a bad DM who didn't know Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z at least through the Namek Saga. If you had somebody who understood how the game worked and how power levels actually function, that was an actually playable game. And you had somebody who understood how the humor and encounters worked in that thing, you could run it. I know. I played one where we played Bridge from Dragon Ball through all the cool arcs, completely independent of the actual series, but you are following the same trajectory up through King Piccolo and Piccolo Jr., and then having a little bit of downtime, and then you're moving yourself up into what would be the Saiyan Saga. The game engine still functions, because at that point you're looking at a few hundred dice you're rolling around. Not too bad, not bad at all. Average power level still in the 200 to 300 range, and when you actually get to see what the power, what the game actually, how it runs, you're not rolling all 300 dice at once, because that would be like, I'm going to blow all my attack power on one, I hope it works attack. No, you're spending like 10, 20, 30, 40. Most of us Warhammer players have 40, 50, 100 dice D6 running around. We do.
I played goblins. I played goblins. I can muster over 200 dice 6.
I play space orcs. I have approximately a bucket of I can roll up to 300 D6 at once, and I've done it on
The
With
most
66.
the most amount of D6s I got from one source with the Disney Pirates dice, because after everybody got done playing that game,
Yeah.
I kept the D6s. I'm like,
Now, it is a rare moment where I get to go over to the dice bucket and pull out the dice bucket and go, I'm going to go kill you now. And then I roll it all and go, well, your space base will survive. Fuck you. But that's okay. That's the Green Horde firing. And
I'm just the reason why I was asking that is that I want to bring some humor in here before we go into Gamist recap. And if I could have Kai recap for Gamist style of play, that'd be great.
oh dear God. Just pause, go rewatch last week, and come back. You back? Okay. No, Gamist is literally sitting there reading a book or doing whatever you want to in your free time, because obviously, everyone has to move around, and well, you have encountered the 5, it doesn't matter, enemies. They are flying oozes or something or others. They have us, and don't worry, it's your turn. You may now act. I shall move 5 squares. You mean 25 feet, 5 squares. I shall now use my offensive cantrip or my swing ability, my swing or shoot arrow ability. I'll say my range, my melee, or my spell cantrip, because I don't want to actually use one of my actual important spells, because we're going to go through 4 to 6 encounters this session, and I know your GM, you're a complete and total cocksucking fag wagon, and therefore you're just going to sit there and be like, if you're not going to get any sleep under my game time, so therefore your 8-hour long rest necessary to get your spells back, I'm not going to give you that. So therefore, never use any of your spells ever until it's obvious that this is the main boss, and then pull out the nuclear weapons and the complete annihilation spells, because we're not going to get more spells in today. Sorry, GM. Why do you guys only use offensive? Anyway, back to offensive cantrip. I use my custom cantrip. I rolled my attack spell. Did it hit? Okay, it hit. Okay. I do X damage. Damage done. Okay, cool. Anyway, my turn's over. Next player. I move my feet, and my turn, and I use my offensive ability that stacks with my swing ability. I have done damage. Anyway, your turn. Okay, GM, you may now hit me for X amount of hit points. Healer, do something. Healer now goes, I heal. Okay, anyway, if you need me, see this cool miniature I painted? That's fantastic. Anyway, we're going to do this, 4 more times tonight? Cool. Yeah, that's Gamist right there. Because you have built your optimal combat character, and that's what you're going to do. And because the game is actually just a mere board game that you've created your own character for, and therefore you have your generic auto-use offense abilities. And if you're playing older editions, you fire crossbow, spellcaster, fire crossbow, swing mace. Oh, it's an actual important thing? Spell. Anyway, fire crossbow, swing mace. Okay. I mean, that's spellcast. Yay. Game. We care so much about game. It's all about combat. Is it combat time? Roll initiative now. Cool.
If you want to hear more of this amazing rant in that voice, I put 2 links in the chat there. Go ahead and join my Discord. And I'm not trying to pimp out my Discord because I want to be swole on Discord. I don't give a shit about Discord. But you have a chance to broaden your knowledge and your experience base by reading through the Saint Rant of Kai's musings. And the secondary link there will get you right into that channel, that sub-channel, and you can scroll all the way up to the beginning of this tale, this man's sad spiral into insanity as he's fucking frustrated of playing games where it's a game, and I just wanted to role play. I just wanted to have a small vacation for 3 or 6 hours, and you're not letting me do that. You're giving me nothing to do for 8 hours, and instead I paint my miniatures or I do my thing, and then you say it's your time to roll initiative. So I roll the initiative, and I just kind of auto jack off like I'm pressing X playing a Final Fantasy version on a PlayStation, and I'm just pressing X, spam X. That's all you get to do. Spam X, spam X, spam X, you workers, fuck! Spam X! Rick, give me goblins! Don't you understand?
At least when you play an MMO, it's keyboard. I move the arrow key and then I hit 1, 2, 3, 4. Meanwhile, in most tabletop gaming, it's hit 1, hit 1, hit 1, hit 1, hit 1, hit 1, hit 1. Move 5 feet, hit 1. Move 5 feet, hit 1.
I didn't
Move
mean
3
to drop all of our viewers. I'm
What?
really sorry. I didn't mean. I'm so sorry to drop all of our viewers at once. I'm pitying the Froggemoth, wishing it was you. You bruised, poor, sensitive people.
Yeah.
Go back and watch. We have a fun show. Narrative gameplay. Jaide, are you ready to start? That's a no.
Sure. I'm just waiting for my noisy dogs to come tumbling down the stairs.
There's nothing better than seeing white bundles of fluff come tumbling down the stairs and seeing that spray of dander come off of them.
I don't know. I kind of miss hanging out with Jaide's dogs. They're a great pair, and I miss them. I might have to come over with some treats for them and some beer for us.
Well, I mean, I'm not short on treats. Let me just say that right now.
Okay, beer for us.
Well, one of them is going to class right now for nose work training. The other one's getting left home, so I'm expecting him to come tumbling down the stairs really loudly any moment now. But yeah, so as far as narrative gaming goes, narrative style gaming is more about telling great stories than it is about rolling dice or making the win at the end of a session. It's also not necessarily about the sandbox that you're playing in or the simulation that you're playing in. It's more about what your characters did and how they did it until they got to the end of their story. And a lot of, there are games that focus on this. One of them being, well, actually, many of them being the storyteller system engines. Mostly like White Wolf Publishing. This would be like WoD, Vampire, Exalted. They focus more about storytelling than about actual like dice rolls. And so that's what narrative is.
I have mainly over the years have played Pathfinder and D&D. And I think there should be a mixture of combat versus story. There should be it depends on the table. I think where the blend stands. It's like I prefer 64% RPG actual story building to 40, whatever that breaks down to, the rest being combat. If we don't get in combat every week, that's fine. Moving the storyline is also very important. But I think for it to be, I think to grab some people's attentions, including mine, the story has to be on point. Because if I'm just sitting around listening to you talk about how you want to spend time with your grandma, I'm going to be bored with the game. I don't give a shit about your grandma or your kids. Let's just move the story along.
Or spending an entire session drinking at a festival and eating pie.
Hey. That was a Christmas miracle.
Wow.
Oh.
Hey, not all St. Nick's look like a diabetic.
So, okay, so we've kind of described what the narrative is. So, what is the role of the game master in that narrative tabletop game? Let's go ahead and start with Shadow.
Knew you were going to say that, but then again,
Well, you're right there.
it's pretty simple. It's your job to describe everything except what the players may want to describe about themselves or about their actions. You're kind of, a glorified AI. If you're playing a sandbox or even a railroad, you've got to tell them everything. You are their eyes, their ears, their nose, their sense of smell, their touch. Sorry, I did nose twice, but yeah, that's your job, and you are hopefully going to find some joy in that, especially if you've designed certain encounters, certain locations. You've built up your world, and now it's your time to show it off.
Okay, Jade, what is the role of the game master in a narrative tabletop game?
So to me, the role of a game master or storyteller in this instance, for a narrative style game, is about narrating the choices that the players have made and narrating the consequences of those choices mainly. The focus for the game master should be developing and working with the players' actions and choices throughout the session, working on the next session to develop a story that is both consistent with what has already been done and along the lines of what the players are looking to do. And this is achieved by having like a post-session tribunal of like, hey, what did you like? What did you not like? Where do you think the story is going? What kind of things are you looking for? Asking the basic questions. Something I always end my nights with every time I run a session is, hey, any comments, questions, concerns about the game? And I typically don't get a lot of feedback. I really wish I would, because then I would know what to do for the next session. Because I do like hanging around in the narrative space, because to me, I think like the reason why the characters are doing what they're doing is exceptionally important, because that's how we get character growth, is through the story. I much prefer a narrative-based game more so than just Murder Hobo or Gamist. To me, Gamist mentality is very Murder Hobo, and it's not very fun for me anymore. Like, it used to be fun. I used to love, getting my numbers as high as I possibly could, nearly breaking the game. But I don't find that fun anymore because I find it boring. Like, oh yeah, I hit and I did a lot of damage. Next person's turn, I guess. So for me, the game master has to basically come up with the narrative based on the choices that players have made, and story tell the consequences.
Kai,
Yes. My take on this.
Yes. What is your take on this of what is the role of the game master at the narrative at a narrative tabletop game?
My entire job is really to just throw complications at you. At moments that I think that the story is either going quiet or losing momentum, my job is to push them again. My job is to give you the initial momentum, make you think for yourself, and then let the party choose what they want to do. Follow the story that as their characters are pushing them towards, and then sit back and then periodically just poke them. If it gets too easy, make it a little bit, not like rocks fall, all die, or something stupid, but it's like one of those, it's like just when you thought everything was nice and wonderful, that tech priest you brought along, yeah, he wandered off on you. Crap! Where did he go? Fuck. And now, well, the tech priest is now off doing, whatever a cog boy does off when you're not looking at him. Or you're having a good time, but that priest over there, yeah, he remembers you back from temple, and he thinks you're actually incompetent. I'm actually very no, you don't get to decide what the NPC. Well, you do get a chance at this, but my job is to throw minor complications. Like, man, we have done it, everything is, and that's when the next shoe drops, and they can. I'm here to get to tell you what you see, what you interact with, but you get to tell me how you react to it. I'm not going to tell you you feel scared, you pee your pants, and you go running off to the corner. I'm going to instead go, okay, a fear event has happened. You are currently afraid. How are you afraid? Give you the chance to narrate how your character handles their fears. How does their fear grip them? How do they react? Hey, you've been injured. Give me an idea of, how do you react to losing half of your hit points? And if you say, I stoically stand there and take no care, that's not very realistic. So I'm not going to penalize you, but I'm going to keep that in mind in the future. Like, it's give and take. I give, you give me something back, and then we just keep working. That's how it should be working most of the time, until I get that one player who just is like, I am a combat machine. I know no pain. It's the T-800 walking across the battlefield. At that point, you just kill it and kill it dead. But hey, most of the time, most players can react to, hey, wait, and every once in a while, I may just go, hey, what are you doing? And a player goes, you know what? I just got back from a horrifying dungeon, and I nearly died 4 times, and my clothes are all destroyed. I'm going to go over here and take a bath. You do that, and then walk around everyone else. Is everyone just relaxing? Yes. You have a nice, quiet night until then. My job kicks back in. But if the players go, I want to do something. Initiative. Congratulations. You get to have some time. Everyone else, come on. Let's go have some fun. I want to go shopping. We'll have fun. Don't worry.
So you're Murphy.
I'm what?
You're Murphy.
To some ways, yes.
All right. So next on the history here, Connell, what do you think is the role of the game master in a narrative tabletop game?
Wordage is failing me right now. What I think is a job when I am telling the story, when I am running a campaign that is story based. My job is similar to what Shadow said. I am describing a world, a room, whatever their situation is, to get them fully, ideally to get them fully hooked into, yes, the grass is green, whatever, just fully hook into the world that I'm building. In the back of my head, when you're watching Willy Wonka in a chocolate factory, the old one, not the weird one, the old one, and they walk into the dessert room. I have no idea what to call other than that. The showroom, whatever. And Willy Wonka starts singing "A World of Imagination." It's your job to be the Willy Wonka, the one to bring them into the imagination of that world, to show them something they might not have seen or done before, and keep their interest. Because any schmuck can throw some dice together and say, I'm going to fight 15 goblins. Okay, where's the fun with that? But if you get them fully hooked in the story, in the world of your imagination, using it as an example, then you have a game. Then you have a honest chance of running a game that's worth running. I mean, I know this term doesn't exactly work with Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, but to me, I see myself as a storyteller because I'm telling a story. I am laying down a fictional world for them to grow their characters or even themselves in to try new things. It never hurts to try. especially if you're new to the game, or if you play the game for like 15 years, but I never played 15 years worth of gaming. I never once played a paladin. Wait, you're giving me a chance to play a paladin in an interesting world that won't drive me up the damn wall? Maybe I should try this. Maybe I should spread my RP wings per se and try something new. That is the DM's job, to offer them a world that embraces their imagination and they want to be involved in it. Is that anywhere close to what you were wanting for an answer?
That works. Last but not least, Bruce.
Is it bad that when Connell's talking about imagination, I'm just thinking about Kurt Russell walking in to the ring gate in South Park and then leading his team in to the woods, and they meet all the little furry creatures and they get eaten. And I can hear Stan and Kyle singing Imagination Land just over and over again in various octaves.
I
just was thinking about that, and I just watched Imagination Land on Sunday with Janet, so that's why I was thinking about that. But because there's a scene where they killed Kurt Russell, he gets killed by the woodland creatures.
my son just discovered South Park, Bruce, like about 2 weeks ago, so that's all I'm hearing all day long.
It's really a good show. I'm trying not to suck its dick right now, but it's really a good show.
And when he's not watching it, he's playing the Stick of Truth. So
I'd rather him watch a TV show, because the Stick of Truth I felt sucked. But anyway, whenever you're doing a narrative style game, you can use the rules to make the game complicated, or you can just do some Jim Butcherisms. And Jim Butcherisms, Jim will write a book for, say, Harry Dresden, and every chapter there's a question. 4 ways to answer the question. As a narrative GM, 2 of those ways are forbidden to you. The word yes or the word no. Every question that the players pose for your game world as you evolve their story should end or be replied with yes, but, or no, but. And if you read a lot of Butcher, you understand exactly what I've just stated. You never want to just have a final answer. Yes or no is just forbidden. So no matter what's going on in your campaign world, your job is to keep the lights on and the game going. So whenever your players think they've pieced together the final relic in this conglomeration of parts, or they've found a solution to why Sarcophaga is trying to come back in Midtown LA, or they've got almost all the pieces for the skinless one as they go rattling down the iron and nickel track on the horror on the Orient Express. You have to come up with a good response. Yes, but, or no, but. That's it. There's no absolute, because if there's an absolute, then you've really just taken away their agency, their reason to continue. Don't do that.
You say that, and I'm not picking fun of you, but it makes me think of Roddy Piper when he says, "When you think you have all the answers, I change the questions." And I think as a DM, that's kind of the deal. I mean, as soon as the characters think they're comfortable, you really need to change the game up.
Oh no. You're not really comfortable. Oh, you're making $700 more a month? You can afford your rent? Oh, that's so cute. What are you going to go buy yourself? let's go get you a subscription to something. And before you've let the players out of the game store or the general shop or whatever, you've taken them back from where they were above money every month to now they're $5 shy on everything. And I know that sounds like it's just a continual game of you clocking your characters, your heroes, you just hitting them with just the tips of the knuckle in their scrotum.
Ow.
But that's the entire job you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be their friend. And during a narrative game, you want their story to be good. So you don't give them small stories. You give them things to really overcome. We need to find all the parts to the Skinless One's simulacra so we can control it and not the vampire. Or we need to figure out how to get out of this mosque in Istanbul, because if the sun rises at the Blood Dome, not only will we die here, but on that stone beer over there, where there's 20 kids sewn together with twine, and there's a bubbling cauldron of frothy ectoplasm and other nasty bits and thoughts that are going to erupt out at sunrise and consume them all, and maybe us. You give them big things. Yes, but. No, but.
Okay. Question. Since you guys have been doing this a little bit longer than I have, when I say a little bit, I'm being generous to myself and not being honest when it comes to you guys. Do you ask your players how far they're going to say you're doing a level-based game? Do you ask your characters how far they wish to pursue a certain class, or what their players' end goal is to push that story, to help push the story along, to interweave them into the world? It's like I have a player in my campaign who's playing a dwarf who's looking for his lost kingdom. And so I figured out on the map where the lost kingdom is, and he is picking up small hints. Nothing big, but small hints of where the kingdom could be. And his goal is to reclaim it. Is this something you guys do as DMs?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
See, he used the yes and. See,
Yeah.
right there.
Yes and no. First off, if a player, I actively go out of my way to actively try to subvert any player who has this is my character plot, and they have plotted it out to the end of time, and I will actively try my best to derail that train by giving them more options to go, have you thought about this thing? No, I have my pre-programmed adventure machine already prepared. All I need is XP and gold inserted until I can get my. Have you thought about something else? Some other gear that might deflect you, or this new thing that deflects you from it. Hey, you were spoken to by by a god who has given you grand wisdom, and maybe your true calling is potentially something more divinely oriented. And then watch the player go and kind of grumble. But I also love the players who goes, but if someone gives me that option of, I'm looking for my lost, I am the lost heir to an ancient kingdom, and I'm going to be like, you are now my new best friend, and I'm going to throw at that point, I kind of put that person in a corner, and then I look at everybody else and go, okay, so that player is the last king. I don't really say this out loud, but in my head, I'm going, so this player is the player who has a goal, a drive, and an ambition. He's now my special boy. He goes over here. And then I look at everybody else and go, so what's your character's idea? And then they're like, I am here to swing sword. Okay, you go over here in the bad bin. So what do? I am the world's best combat farmer. All right, tell me more. My ambition is to create the ultimate hybrid plant human. You are cool. You go in the cool bin. So what is your thing? I am a goblin, and I ride a magic pumpkin that I summon, and it breathes fire. You go in the neutral bin. I don't know about you yet. You'll figure it out. And that's how I sort through my players. And then I just kind of go, neutrals will figure out their place. And then I look at the pile of sadness known as I am a pile of combat monster stats and go, you're just here. You don't care about story. I know you don't care. You may claim you care about story, but I'm just here, and I'm looking forward to whatever. And then I'm going to take the 2 or 3 golden gems of the group and go, you are now protagonists. Everybody else is glued to you and they are all expendable. Now I will kill off protagonists because there's no such thing as plot armor, but I now know who the story revolves around and who is, well, sorry to say it, your support characters. You're going to get the best supporting actor when you die your glorious, horrible death scene. It's like, oh gosh, the veteran sergeant died in a horrible, horrible explosion of Meltifire. Oh, do you have any last words? Don't forget. I've already forgot his name. Moving on now. And we'll all cheer his death as he becomes a new character, and we'll continue to push the bold and brave commissar off onto the next horrible event that he doesn't want to be part of. Oh dear God! And while I leave a trail of bodies behind. Yes, story goes to the people who want it, and then I'll throw caveats to the people. And maybe once in a while, I'll periodically go back and say, "Hey, combat monster, do you still want to be part of the game, or are you just here to be a combat monster?" I'm still a combat monster. I'm following my equations. Congratulations. Continue to be useless until which point that I need you to go smash something. Everybody else, let's go have a good adventure now. Okay. What do you want to do? I want to drink. Okay, go off and drink. And bad things will happen to you. Don't worry. But don't worry. You're going to smash it because that's all you do. Smashy smash. Story.
All right. Jaide.
What was the original question?
I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is that I have 3 piles now of players. And
You're right.
I've got to figure out how to. It's like
it's more generous than me.
Like Legos, you got to stick them together. Or
Good.
Something. I don't know.
Kai,
Good centerpiece.
Kai.
Good centerpiece
Kai?
characters. Yes.
What if they're a new player? Would you still treat them thus?
I will. Look. New players are wonderful things because they come in with this idea that they have no idea what the game is, and it's beautiful because at that point they come in and go, because I've had this wonderful experience now of lots of new players, and the best part is when they come in and go, hey, what do you want to play? And they're like, I want to play a bard. Now describe your bard. And they're like, well, and then you kind of shape them and watch them make the, because they don't have this combat monster thing going on in their heads. So they don't know all the equations to create slaughterous Rex of the Fifth Legion, who's just here to obliterate all things, or they're actually here to have a fun character. So they're building an interesting concept, and you're like, you're so special. Now you've made a fun character now. And they're not the most combat effective, but they're trying, and they're usually fun, and they usually gravitate to a cool concept. And they come in as the neutral or the fun people. They're always almost neutral or fun. You rarely ever get somebody who comes in and goes, I'm brand new to the game, and all I want to do is slaughter me some gobos, and slaughter me some orcs, and murder something. Do you have any other goals? Slaughter! Treasure! And at which point you just kind of go, well, okay, unless of course they've been gotten to by one of the other players who goes, no, let me tell you how to build your character optimally. And then they come into the group and go, so anyway, I was told this game's about how to move my character on the board and go kill things. And I go, congratulations, you go over here into the support character band. Because there's always good characters who could become good, and well, I know you're here that at the key moment you'll fire the multi-melta into the boss and obliterate it. Until then, you really don't do anything. I understand. And you just kind of move on. And like, you know that if it comes time to combat, you just go, hey, combat guys, handle the problem. And if you can just let everybody else just have fun playing characters who are doing interesting things, knowing fun people, causing problems. By God, if you give me a player who will cause problems more often than they solve problems, oh my God, treasure that player. And it's like, what? There's an optimal solution, there's a mad solution, and there's the one that will cause chaos. Renegade for life. Have some fun. Play. Be interesting. But then there's that, okay, and now the situation has gotten so out of control that we need to have some, and we need to have Brother Slaughtermaster come down here, and then he's like, is it time for combat? Boom! I have some of my battle armor. I have my 14 axes that are all glued together, and my Giganto shield. I have feats that allow me to use this two-headed shield, and I should now activate this one ability that lets me teleport into combat, and I now get 45 attacks, and I murdered everyone around me. There's a giant blood pile, and I stand there in a fountain of blood and gore as they falls upon me. I am glorious. Yes, you are, son. Yes, you are. Now, put you back in the goddamn glass box and put you back over here. You are not important anymore.
Kai, you're a
Yes.
goddamn genius. Okay.
Okay.
What would be the main reason? And I'm going to start with Shadow on this one because I just want to ask this out to everybody here. We've been gaming at least for 10 years. It's no longer a new thing for us. So what would be the super appeal, starting with Shadow, to run a game with a narrative mindset?
Well, always, from the very beginning to the very end, it should be to seek out new experiences, whether it be playing a new character, exploring a new world, whatever the players desire most, we should, in my opinion, try to give them a chance at experiencing that. We made a world or a universe or a galaxy or what have you. Show it off and see where the players go with it. That's our main thing, or at least for me, the whole world building, making new worlds that no one else has made. Show people why my world is different than all the other worlds people have gamed or experienced, whether it be TV, movies, books, comic books, whatever. Show them why you are the best GM. Give them those experiences that they're going to want to share with complete strangers.
Okay. Chimerian.
One would say to boldly go.
Yeah, I
You
was
know
trying to
what has
avoid
gone
that.
before.
I realized what it sounded like, and I tried to avoid it.
Yeah, we all of us heard you starting to read off to seek out new life.
New life, new civilizations. To
Hey,
boldly
Just
go.
too much hanging out
Where-
with Donner, I guess. My leg just fell asleep.
Okay, so anyway, the question was about why I should do narrative games.
Yeah, I want to know why would you of all the gaming styles you would want to do, what would be a reason that Chimerian, Saint Rant of Chimerian,
Yes.
why would he do that?
Because I want to see how people. Honestly, I run it because I want to see how people react to a situation. I don't want a canned optimal or worst result, because when you play through life or read a story or go through think about things, there's no optimal choice. This isn't a choose your own adventure where it's like, do you go right, turn to page 86, turn left, turn to page 12, go straight, turn to page 14. You don't have that option. It's simply, okay, it's snowstorm, you have this thing, how do you react? Now the story can evolve there. You can have a few moments of going, oh shoot, now my character may or may not have this effect happen. And you think about this, so therefore, plus I get to have a chance of having some nice interactive action, reaction, and events that come out from that from those actions. So things can roll out in directions you don't like. I don't want to have players go, this is the optimal thing, I have to go rescue the princess. Well, did I establish why you wanted to go rescue the princess? Who captured it? Why did this happen? I want players to ask dumb questions like that. Hey, who captured it? Do you know why? Is there politics involved? Can we investigate why the houses, what houses might have allowed this one? Was there intrigue involving it? Or I don't want to just have, and then evil Dark Lord, Lord Villainous showed up in a poof of smoke, laughed maniacally, twirled his mustache, grabbed the princess, and then evaporated off with a thunderclap of smoke and fire, and disappeared off to his dungeon. You can see the dungeon because there's a giant neon light sign over it that says, bing, 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 bing. I am 4 weeks away. You may now have 4 weeks of wandering across the wilderness adventure time through 4d6 random encounters that before you encounter my dungeon. And now you may now fight through my dungeon. No, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that because, well, that's kind of, at that point, wow, I have all these cool ideas, all these cool goals, and everyone has their goals, their own intent. Like, because I'm sorry, how often do we go through our lives and suddenly there's an explosion? How do you react to the explosion? Well, do you go running towards the explosion because that's how you were trained? That's your initial, I'm a good person, or I was trained to run towards the fire. Good. You're a hero. Go be a hero. I don't want to just simply be, you went to the job board. Sorry, you were summoned by Lord Good Guy to go retrieve Princess Plot Device from Lord Bad Guy, who's over there in Dungeon of Evil Things. And along the way, you must reassemble the rod of 14 bad parts that will do evil things. I mean, no.
But there's the spider demons.
Right. And I can introduce the spider demons in a much more interesting way. But there's spider demons along the way, and along the way you'll encounter the elves who are slightly bad and dark-skinned, and who may or may not engage in acts that we can't talk about anymore on YouTube. And you will also encounter the green-skinned folks who speak like in Cockney accents, and they will roar at you, and you will fight them. You will also fight a bunch of goblins and other things along the way. Do not ask why. I do not ask why there's a giant evil snail who has psychic powers. Don't ask. He just arrived there.
First of all, really quick, do not make fun of Princess Buttercup. She is a national treasure, damn it.
I understand. And it's one of those things where it's just one of those, the game, I want to create eventually, say I do want to run the Rescue the Princess thing. I want to make it so that way the party wants to do it. That it's in their interest. So if my players all look at, hey, we need you to go rescue the princess, and the party has no vested interest, no desire to do it, And they all kind of look at it and go, "Isn't that what the Secret Service is for?" You know, don't they have an army of trained guards and elite? You know, because all of us GMs are all a bunch of hacks, so we're like, and that's when the super de duper leather clad spy master walks out of the shadows and blackmails you all into do it, and they're ultra elite badass super retired level 20 adventure badass Captain the Guard shows up, and he's like, I'm like, and at that point, you're like, why do you need a group of level 3 to 6 dweebs to go on this epic quest when obviously you have a party of level 20 badasses right the fuck here in the castle? Because you're a lame GM, and unless you use utter blackmail and threats of violence to make them comply, you can't get your party to do anything. I mean, your party might go, you're a bunch of really cool badasses. Why don't you go rescue your daughter? We're busy with what? Tea time? Yeah, we're gonna go over here and I don't know, do something else. And that's the fun part of a narrative, is the party being able to go, yeah, we're going to go do something else. I'm your king. Now, technically, we're a bunch of vagabond wanderers, and we're going to go travel over that hill about 15 miles to the next kingdom over, and we're going to get a job with those guys. Well, I'm just, yeah, whatever. Bye. I'm sorry. We're a bunch of mercenaries, and by the mercenary creed, this has gone too crazy, and you ain't paying us enough. Am I even paying you? That's why we're not hanging around. I want players to be able to. I want, as a GM, to have to figure out how to motivate you to actually want to stick around. But if my players go, fuck this plot line sucks. We're going over here and finding a new plot line. But don't you care about the kingdom of wimpy do-gooders? No, we don't. We have no interest in this place. We're leaving. Bye. And I'm gonna be like, but okay, cool. And then I can run things that way. But yeah, most GMs don't put that much thought into it. So yeah.
That's one thing that most of these GMs just don't understand. I'm telling you what, Kai. One time I was sitting on the DM screen and I was telling the players, "You've entered the Monsanto courtyard. Now let's go up there and talk to the director of agriculture." And the director of agriculture
said, "What are we actually? Are we actually going? I'm going to fight an anarcho-libertarian campaign where we bring up the government? Fuck yes! I love for this one.
Here's your cart. It's loaded down with these items. You need to pour it in this stream at the King's Gulch.
All right, let's
go. Experiment on these frogs."
Fantastic. Because now I'm playing an evil campaign. I'm part of the evil empire. All right, let's do this one. I'm sorry. I would love to have him run a campaign for me.
Bruce?
No. Alex Jones.
I was going to say, that can be easily arranged. It's happening this Saturday, actually.
Unfortunately, I work. And I don't want you guys sitting around for 3 hours waiting for me to get off work. No thanks.
Well, considering how most of our games go, you might still be in the very beginning of it.
Yeah, we might still be in the opening crawl. Before the opening credits start, there's the crawl. And you might get in there, like the crack of 9 at night, and we're just now getting started with the main quest.
Wow. No thanks.
Okay.
Jan's already got us threatened by, Facebook, YouTube to have to be moved over to Tumblr, Pornhub, or Rumble by that point.
I tell you what, I wasn't really good friends with Mindy. Like she's an acquaintance of mine. Having Mindy and Janet in the party is all the reason you guys need to go be there, because those two girls are trouble.
Well, Janet's
I really just I would love to run a campaign as Alex Jones. Hell, I'd run a campaign of Conspiracy X for you, Kai. Yeah. I'd find an old Lester W. Smith game, and I'd run it.
Oh yeah,
because that's what you're supposed to do for the people you love. So I mean, I'm just saying, like that's.
If we ever get time.
Yeah, if we ever get time, man. When we retire,
Yeah,
if I
when
don't
we all
die of a
retire,
coronary from all these delicious breakfast tacos.
we will do a fantastic campaign that will just literally be Alex Jones meets Coast to Coast AM and every other weird ass thing, and just run it this way. Most of the world has no idea how batshit fucking crazy the world really is, how cloud world it actually is. It's like, no, we gotta make the whole fucking world up. Don't you understand the hexagons on Saturn are actually powering this shit? Yes.
What do you mean we actually have a visual on the hexagon at the North Pole? What do you mean? Wait, what do you mean we're in Hopkinsville, Kentucky? That's where the goblins are. Fuck.
Haven't you seen the map with that overlays where all the caves and where all the disappearances happen? There's a connection there.
There's a connection there. David Politis will help you.
I know.
I'm very familiar with David Politis and his amazing Bigfoot sighting website, which overlays with the caves, which overlays with the missing persons 411. Sorry.
Anyway, we're sorry. We diverted off topic.
Oh no. Shadow was getting ready to jump in and start talking about the incidents at Mount Shasta with the fairies, and then you had the lizard man sightings over there, just not too far away from the base of Mount Shasta, and the UFO that disappeared to the side of a mountain on video with Jimmy Church one time. My bad. Did I? Are we going there? My bad. Okay, so narrative play. Connell.
You know what I do on my off time there, Bruce. You know it too well.
I do it too. I'm sadly doing all this now.
I'm rooting for Hecklefish to kill off fucking AJ, okay? My bad.
They're the same guy.
Yeah, I know. Connell, drink that fucker down, buddy. I'm going to ask you, okay, you have 6 new people at your table. And from 2 of them, you're getting flags that they want to play a narrative game.
All right.
Go.
So, 6 new people, right? I asked them first of all, I asked them what their interests are. What are they interested in? What kind of literature? Because a good DM is a well-read DM.
Whoops. Now,
once I have a general idea of what their stick is, and they don't all want to play a bunch of red caps and human suits, I will pick literature that I'm sure that most of them haven't read. Let's go with Jim Butcher. But I dial it back. It's not modern day.
Wait, hold on. Kids nowadays are picking up Jim Butcher.
That's exactly the point. You run literature if you're going to do that they don't know. So I'm going to go with Jim Butcher. But I'm going to dial it back. I'm going to go in the maybe in the era when the White Council, for those who know what I'm talking about, was created. And run a campaign or roughly around that, centering around the Fae and the magic users and the good people, wanting to make a council that will protect humans for the things that bump in the dark. And I will use concepts from other literature out there that will grab my player's attention. The idea to me is that you're writing a book. You're writing your own story. Yes, you're using somebody else's world. That it happens. But you're adding your own twist, your own stories to that world. Because you read enough of the Dresden books, there is nothing before Dresden. I mean, yes, there is stuff, but there's nothing out there. There's not really anything out there.
Yeah, there's Zelazny.
Well, I'm not well read in him as of yet.
You will be.
But I'm using what I know. I'm using what I know. So you start building onto a history, a storyline that is in a narration type story book that literature that you enjoy, making sure the players are the POV characters that they want to be. And you're just writing a great epic story. To me, that's how you do narrated play. I could be wrong though.
Fair enough. Garrett,
Yeah.
you have people that want to play in your basement, and they've been friends of yours for a while, but you just started doing narrative play or giving it a real good look at. What would be the benefits for showing them your style of narrative play?
Well, to me, it's a lot about the immersion. If you can get them immersed into the game, as Connell put it before, the hook. What I look more at, I call it more as immersion. So if they become fully immersed in the game, I have seen that typically they have a lot more fun, and that it actually opens up their imagination, so they can, I'm going to say the word, enjoy the story. But yeah, that's the big thing, is the immersion factor. That's what I really enjoy, and the immersion factor comes in several different ways, with the story, with the character development. The development of the characters themselves can have just as much impact on that narrative as the NPCs that you make, or the setting itself, because of that they're bought in. If they buy in, they're there. So that's typically where I go with that. That's why I typically like the more narrative style.
Hey, Max.
Max Liel. Okay, Jaide,
Yes, sir.
you've been going really hard at the narrative gameplay style for the past, 2 years?
20 years.
You were always going for narrative. You were an accountant like the rest of us. That's okay.
Here's my spreadsheet of 1 to 40.
1 to
Okay,
100.
yes, I did. I do use spreadsheets to track my character stats, because I don't have to worry about updating all the nonsense. I just hit a button, it updates, and I'm the next level. Whoop-de-doo. Because I do all that pre-work so I can focus on the game and not worry about what level am I taking of what, and what do I get for whatever that level is. Like, I've already pre-programmed that. It's already known. It's there. I just hit a button and go. Anyway, your question.
Whenever you look at a game, it doesn't matter what game it is. Are you looking at it through the lens of how can you run this with a narrative flair that will entertain your players? Or are you looking for just like you're on vacation and maybe you want to actually do some Gamist work for a little bit? So you're going to look at a game and maybe try to make the numbers a challenge to the players. How do you...
So I used to look at the numbers side of things a lot, so I could plan challenges that might actually be a challenge for players of particular levels. But I've since stopped caring about that as much, especially since I've delved into index card RPG, and I'll probably be looking at the new one, Shadow Dark, here in the near future. But
is that a new realm for index card?
Oh, it's not. That's kind of a misnomer there. It's not necessarily a new realm for index card. It's a standalone game. It's a standalone RPG game that has the feeling of index card, 5e, DCC. What else was there? BX. So it has the feel of all of those other old school classic style games and some of the newer concepts, because the author, I believe, I don't know much about the author, I will say that offhand, but the author, I believe, started with 5e, if I am not mistaken. So so coming from 5e, into the other OSR or OSE type content, it was kind of written as a stripped down game to make it very streamlined and make it very playable. But it is a standalone when compared to other games. It's not actually Index Card RPG, even though she worked with the author of Index Card RPG to make the product, or make Shadow Dark. Well, regardless to that, getting back to the original question, as far as like narrative aspects, I will generally start my games with a session 1-0, whatever you want to call it, with a what kind of character do you want to play, and what are their goals? If they don't have goals, well, I suggest them to get goals. I often also like having 1 paragraph to 1 page of backstory, so I know what they've been doing up to the point of the game, where the game actually starts. I want to know a little bit of the history of the characters, and if they don't have it, by session 1, that's fine. They can, come up with it, and keep notes on it later. And I will pull from a player's backstory, the character's backstory. I will pull nuggets of information out of those backstories and implement them into the main story of the game. I'll actually pull seeds out of their past and be like, okay, what can I use? How can I use it? And, because not only does it hook specifically that character, it immerses that player into the game, knowing that I pulled stuff from them into the game that they are playing. I'm pulling their narrative into my world. And I'm having them, run through stuff that they've already pre-set up for me. I didn't have to do a lot of extra lifting or thinking on it. It's just there. So why not use it? Your players are presumably very creative to be playing, in the game. Some maybe more than others. But if your players are already creating their own, head canon for their characters, and they have an idea of where they want to go with that character, why not use that data? Why not use that information that they're freely giving to you? I think it would just make the game more immersive and more fun to play, because then they have a personal stake in the game, and that's how I like to use.
We've not exactly said this, but you're the first one that's actually hit that nail on the head squarely today.
About having personal stake in it.
Yeah, you got to make it personal for the players. Why would their character really want to get involved with these items here, with this quest?
Right. And that's why I do try to tie things to the character backgrounds. Like Baron over here, he's played at my table. He had an android. We were playing Starfinder, the very first module set of Starfinder, and he had an android. He set it up with amnesia. So I'm like, okay, so you're giving me free reign to do whatever I want. Awesome. I will work with this. And I took elements of my wife's character, of his wife's character. I started taking small elements of everyone's backstories and weaving a huge interconnected web of story into the actual adventure path that they were playing. And I was actually starting to plan a 7th module of the 6-part series. I was planning a 7th module to the set, that would tie everything up in a one big bow for all of the players, and they would all get basically personal closure on elements of their backstory in that 7th module. Unfortunately, the game fell apart because the adventure path was not the best. I'll be the first to admit that. I didn't care for where they went and how they went there with that adventure path. And were I to rewrite the entirety of it, I think it would be probably better to take it from scratch with all the same players.
Okay.
And I've said this before, and I got in trouble for this before, but I will say, Jaide over here is asking for a paragraph, 2-paragraph minimum, which is not much. Honestly, to be fair, it is not much to ask for anybody.
5 sentences.
5 sentences. That's it. Me, I'm the schmuck. Is like, I work it out as I go. I'm I don't know. All I have in front of me is numbers. I don't have the character's voice in my head yet. I got nothing. I need actual gameplay, play to figure out who he is, what he is. And that might not work for all DMs. And I've been lucky enough to have Jaide as a DM who understands my process, to say the least. I guess that's a good wordage. Process?
Yeah.
Because as soon as I have the voice of the character in my head, I'm normally, Jake can verify this, I'm normally off to the races. I can make this work. Then I can tell you whatever you need to know. His background story, I can come up with it on the fly. I just need at least a little bit of game time just to knock out the bolts and nuts and bolts to figure out what he is, who he is.
I'm gonna mention something. So Legion of Myth says he'll nuke an entire world to the point of being unrecognizable just to fuck with pre-built characters. And as a person who does the pre-building of characters, I actually build one character like 10 times, and I have like 10 different paths I could set him upon. Like already in my head of where I'm hoping the character goes based on DM decisions on like challenges that I'm presented with. Like there are some things that I'm like, no, the character would pursue this goal. Like for example, if I have a paladin of I'm going to use Galarian Pathfinder, a paladin of Iomedae, I might consider the Holy Sword Paladin to get rid of spellcasting, because I almost never use spellcasting as a paladin anyway. And then I might mix it with one of the other archetypes like Sword of Valor or something. Get more lay on hands effects. So I'm going to plan for that in advance. And I'll plan out 10, 20, 40 levels of character build. But when I start mixing in the other prestige classes or other things to, flesh out different paths, like career paths of the character, I'm looking at multiple paths, not just one. So when things shift in the campaign, I shift along with them. I don't stick to my pre-build 100%. Scott, one of the people who show up in Wednesday night chat, he's game master for me multiple times, and I might have a concept in my head, like a pre-build concept in my head, and then something will change in the campaign, like where he was planning on going with the campaign that no longer fits the design or the concept that I have. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to keep my character within concept, but also adjust to the new information I've just received? And I will work with the game master to make sure my character is still fitting within the bounds of the established world, so the simulation, and also within the narrative that is being told, and keeping it a consistent narrative. And you're right, Max, it is a lot of extra work. You might consider it for no reason, but I love to theory craft my characters. I like to see what potential they might have if certain choices are made. It's just one of the things I do. I love to theory craft things to their natural conclusion. It's just what I do.
I mean, I got one character I've been kind of running off and on for the last couple of years. I got another one that I really like to play, but finding a DM that will let me play the race, play a particular race has kind of been a trick though too.
The answer is no.
But why?
Because I said so.
It doesn't fit my role.
You're trying to game the system.
No.
You're trying to game the system.
I was playing a shifter getting the system.
I has spoken.
So how many rosaries? How many rosaries? And I have to do now.
With everybody giving their thoughts on, with everybody giving their thoughts on narrative and gaming and simulationist, do we want to kind of summarize this and wrap this topic up?
Sure.
Unless you five, if there's more to add, we can put more meat on it if you want.
I mean, I think everybody's basically done their point of view on the topic. I mean, wherever's good.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Omanel, that character builds also become party builds. So, while I might have pre-built my character for 20, 30, or even sometimes 40 levels of design, I will also work with my fellow players on what they're planning for and what they're wanting to achieve with the character that they are playing. So I will, try to find some synergistic combos of classes or abilities and powers so we can all work together to achieve the same goals.
Oh yes, the age-old question. All right, guys, what's everybody playing?
Yep.
There's nothing really wrong with that. I think that's actually integral to a good party, is to have teamwork. Unless you guys are planning on becoming the six assholes which don't get along, but you're still together. Sorry,
I mean, why would I want a game like that? I already had one experience with roommates that basically embodied.
Hey, Multigun Man, how you doing? I have really nothing much more to add on this. I mean, I like all three styles of play, and I think as I continue to game, as much as everybody else is doing their style, I'm going to continue to do mine. Some people think it's the computerized die roller or whatever, but
Human die roller,
the human die roller, and whatever. I just know I'm going to run the game that I'm wanting to run. And the players that I have right now are very much into that style of game, which that's cool. That might not be your table, but it's where I'm at.
Like I always say, Bruce, read the room.
Yeah, and with that room there, I think I have to kind of be mindful because they've been playing the 3rd edition game since almost it came out. And I was late to start, but I enjoyed what I've played so far. And I think there's a lot to play in that style of game. I recognize, though, that style of game is much more crunchy and Gamist just by its design.
There is no one at the current moment in this panel that I would not sit down and try to see what they're like as DMs. I mean, more than just one shot. Bruce and Jaide, I've been at your tables multiple times. I can't wait to find a weekend where I could jump into Baron's campaign, or if he decides to run another Exalted longer than a one shot.
You'd have to give up on Bruce's.
Actually, my Saturdays are now completely booked up, so I'm just screwed. Fuck. How did this happen? This is a great problem to have.
If you guys want to look at this, I just got one character finished. And all right. Be gone, Fredermuff. Okay. So basically, what I did for this character here, this is just on a. This is what I'm going to share in our Discord for next week. This is going to be the skilled individual. And you can see he's kind of average. I actually have a couple more points to put into him because there's these things called character points. And you get character points by, you get a few of them at start. And then if you get hindrances, they come with character points that you can add. Who is wanting to play the thief? Whom among you?
I thought that was Shadow.
Yeah, me or I think Connell's running a magic user, and I don't know what anybody else.
Okay. So Shadow, you've got basically 2.25 ability score points you can put into your 6 stats here. What would you like to add into? Strength, dexterity, intelligence goes into not only
Honestly,
skill.
I can't. Hold on. Let me put on some glasses because I can't read anything except the stats themselves.
Shadow, are you saying you're getting old? Your eyes are
No,
just
I'm
not
saying
what
I've
they
got a
used to
tiny little. I have a tiny little screen that I can't see shit on.
be? I gotta pick on my older brother somehow.
So I have a question. How do you come up with the percentages there?
Basically, I'm
stats?
just going back through Pathfinder or 3.0, 3x, and converting everything by 5. Multiply by 5.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Intriguing.
I'd probably put them both into intelligence.
Okay.
You're a rogue. You don't need intelligence.
Intelligence also raises your to hit.
Oh wow.
Cool.
Because you're smart enough not to be there.
No, actually,
That would raise defense.
it's kind of like an anatomist's ability. It's just everybody. If you have a high intelligence, you have a better to hit. It's a one-time bonus.
Interesting.
Max asked, "How's 14 times 5? 99. What are you talking about, Max?"
That wasn't max. That was
On Dex.
Dexterity?
It was.
No. These are percentile points.
Okay.
What that means is that if he goes up another level, guaranteed that 99 rolls over to 15 double odd.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I'm debating on just taking these off the character sheet and keep them as a GM record, because really it's not something that the players are in control of. It's just when you level up little by little, your character increases as he moves on. Hey, climbing that mountain, how you doing? Active defense basically is your armor class. So that would be like a 15 right there.
Is it a rollover or under?
Rollover system. Everything you see here, this is anything I have written down percentage wise, you add to your D percentile roll.
Oh no, not a rollover. Jay,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Fail.
Just flail at the screen wildly and hope for the best.
Roll with disaster. That's all it's gonna be.
Say again?
Roll with all the problems. That's all you can do with that.
Yep. I'm just gonna roll with the problems. There we go.
So, anyway, this guy's got a flat-footed defense of 60, a touch defense of 65, His ADR is armor damage reduction. All armor reduces damage. Light armor
Okay.
reduces it. Basically, whatever the armor value would be in the quote unquote base 3rd edition, like padded armor or leather armor, those are +2 or +2. Typically, they give you 2 DR on things. Fortitude, reflex, willpower, or saving throws. Move speed. In 5 seconds, you can move 25 feet because you're human.
Interesting.
Your Bob, base offensive bonus, +15%. That's base. Because I took things back to a positive style THACO from 2nd Ed. And so fighters go up 5% every level. Thieves go up. On their even levels, they will actually promote by 5%. Priest types go up 10% every 3 levels. And wizards go up 5% every 3 levels. Finesse trains just mean that you know how to use light weapons with your dexterity modifier, not your strength modifier. And basically, you don't get the hit modifiers from strength. It's your hit modifier, if you're using a non-finesse item, it's your intelligence bonus, and that's it. Strength only figures into your damage.
Okay, so strength is part of damage. Okay.
Yeah, that's your damage, and that's your encumbrance.
Okay.
Evasion, same thing as a Pathfinder or 3.0. Fast stealth. You can move your 25 feet within 5 seconds under the cover of stealth as best as you can. Rope master. It means that you are very good at climbing. If I ask you for a reflex save, your danger sense kicks in by 5%. It'll give you a 5% bonus on your reflex. If it's a trap.
It's always a trap.
Debilitating injury is a Pathfinder Unchained rogue ability, which is really cool. And uncanny dodge means that you have a hard time being flanked. Also, my game doesn't use squares. My game...
Hexagons?
What?
Hexagons?
No. Uses scenery
Oh, okay.
and that.
Wargaming style.
Old school.
Got it.
Old school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tape measure.
That's awesome.
And then
Like my Tuesday nights.
the skills on the other side, when I was rolling the character up, lower class birth. Sorry, dude. But lower class birth is kind of cool, especially if you are like the 5th or 6th born, because the further down the line you are in the succession of your family, like if you're the 6th born or something, you get like after 4th, you get an extra rank for skills to start off with. Because nobody
You've
pays
learned from your
attention to you.
siblings.
Yeah, the siblings trying to help you out. You have a lot of older brothers and sisters, but you are kind of on your own. And instead of getting monetary rewards as the firstborn or secondborn, now you're just being more and more crafty. So you can see here.
So if I was the 7th son of a 7th son, what would that do for me?
You would have an additional 4 ranks.
Oh, okay.
I saw where you're going there.
And you would probably be brought into a dream sequence by Jeff Bridges, and then you'd be stuck in a bad movie.
Hey. It could
The
have been
books
better.
were amazing.
I know.
Wait, hold on. Forgive my ignorance, but that was actually based off a book.
Oh yeah.
You didn't know?
No, I just thought it was a shitty movie.
Chimerian, if you could help, I forgot what the Rogue's Edge does for acrobatics, but this character is set up for acrobatics on the Rogue's Edge.
Reactionary knows where I was going with that.
Anyway, I'll be doing the magic user and the bard next over the course of the week, and I'll be putting those on Discord. But what did you guys want to know about next week when I start running this little experiment?
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to need a lot more time to prepare for this, so we should do so. Schedule some times to do that. It's not like we can, just whip out a book or a PDF.
Actually, yeah, Bruce, do you have any written documentation on this?
Not as of yet, but I've been going through a lot of other books and basically copy pasta thing together, and then hammering my own as I go. I know that sounds really bad, but game design, I found out, is like making sausage.
Yeah.
I want to just do a basic version first. The first 10 levels with those 5 classes, the 5 food groups.
Are we coming in at a particular level?
5th.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, like, this guy's hit points would be 35.
Okay.
How much does a longsword do?
Damage-wise?
Yeah.
Die 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, I'm copying, like, I even have it in the design document right now. If in case a question exists, see the SRD for Pathfinder.
Okay.
Okay.
So
But
for a few changes,
initiative is done differently. Like, for initiative, say there's the party, and then there is monster. Well, these guys, we're kind of going, standard so far. Sounds all right. He's rolling initiative for the party because you guys don't have the party yet. Just doing this, okay. Those guys roll their initiative die. He's a large creature. His initiative die is, unfortunately for him, it's going to be a little exaggerated. Oh, he rolled a 2. All right. Not a 20, that's a 2. Now, I call initiative 1, nobody goes. Initiative 2. On initiative 2, both these would acknowledge we've rolled a 2. All right. So they can make their first decisions in the battle. And at this point, they can proceed as normal. On initiative 7, she will be moving herself 5 inches away from this thing to put the party between this thing and her.
Why initiative 7?
What? On 7?
So they would act on initiative 2 and 7?
What? No, on initiative 2, she declares.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, I see how it's going. Okay. Yeah.
She declares. And then he declares, I'm going to charge, which that is going to put him at initiative 11. Because his charging and attack is a 9. Okay? Well, on initiative 4, the bard says, I'm going to back up an inch as part of any other action. You can do that, except for movement. But I'm also going to start strumming my harp and try to cast an entangling spell on him. That will take place on 9. So on 9, before he gets a chance to go, he has to suddenly roll the freaking save. And he rolled an 2. Almost a complete and total failure, but that's all right. He doesn't have the fortitude or the willpower to overcome the entangling spell, and his legs are netted up. So now, whenever his initiative comes from movement, it's not going to go off the way he wants. he's going to be very hampered. On initiative 6, he will declare that he will actually use a short bow on him, and short bow speed is going to put him at initiative 14. Yes, rolling low on initiative is better. Now, when these characters have their actions done, they declare their next action after they resolve that action that they just did. So instead of rolling initiative every round, I'm counting up 6, 7, 8, 9. And they continue like that. These are seconds.
So I got a question for you. So based on this, based on what they roll, how do they know what to add to their roll to determine when their declaration happens? Where's that at?
Speed.
Speed?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, weapon speed, bow. Okay, short bow. Okay.
And for, just so you understand, I'm borrowing the initiative speeds from the 5th edition Hackmasters for the weapons, because 5th edition Hackmasters.
Okay, I will try to find that chart.
It's not my favorite game of all time by any means. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. Kai would absolutely hate it because it never once broaches you at your peak. Instead, it is a game from like the lowly 0 getting to journeyman possible hero.
Dirt Farmer 2.0.
And you're dirt farmers. It's Mud Sword. But Hackmaster 5e has an amazing initiative system where you declare upon the resolution of your last action. And initiative just continues.
Okay.
It reminds me of some of the Final Fantasy battle system.
Now you truly are talking Greek to me.
Okay, just so you're aware, when you're playing some of the Final Fantasy games online, you would resolve your action, and then you'd go to declaration of your next initiative.
Gotcha.
And that's all it is.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a time factor. Spells have their own time factor. Also, I might add that this game has exploding die damage. And this character, by the way, is a specialist with a dagger. He's skilled, so he does a d6 damage instead of a d4. What that means is that, say, said thief goes up to this ogre, and he hits. Well, he rolls an initiative. If he rolls a 6, what he does is he grabs another d6 and rolls it -1. So that actually would be a 2. Any damage roll, that's how that resolves. No reactionary principle gaming with Max Boyven. Stats do not impact initiative. Dexterity, no wisdom. Maybe charisma, because being a friendly person will keep you out of combat. But initiative typically starts once the from one side, hostilities will start. And once the initial ambush or the first attack goes off, then everybody else gets to roll.
Yeah, I could see the charisma affecting the bard type.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the simple fact of, because when he declares whatever he's doing, it would impact after his declaration.
What do you mean, Garrett?
So, like, for instance, if he's, I'm going to sing, that may actually it may actually lessen the time until it goes off.
As
see
your
what I mean?
Gets levels, your initiative times for your various actions that you specialize with, like weapons you're really good with, or schools of spells that you frequently cast from, that initiative that speed factor drops. Thieves
Okay.
will have a drop of 4 on their, like, a dagger is typically a speed 7, and a dagger in the hands of a 16th level or higher thief is a 3.
Because they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Fighters at level 20, they get a -4 on their speed factor for attacking. Your move speed really doesn't change much. The move initiative time. What?
So if I was playing that rogue and I decided to move 25 feet or 25 is that feet, inches? What is that?
Yeah, 25 feet. 1 inch equals 5 feet.
Okay, so if I was to move 5 inches, that would take 5 initiative counts, correct? To get that distance?
Yeah, it would resolve all at once, because otherwise then you have people like initiative 6, initiative 7, and I don't want to do that. We could.
Okay.
I'm not wanting to do that.
Okay.
Because then you have things where, like, well, the large characters actually move 10 feet every second. No, shut up. Stop it. I don't want to do that.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I understand the initiative count up and the speed things.
Yeah. And say, like, if you're playing that thief and you decide that you and the monk are going to flank said individual, the old style of 3rd edition, oh, I have a flanking buddy. Do I get precision damage? Yep.
Oh, cool.
Precision damage, actually, for 5th level skilled rogue or skilled character, you'd roll 3d6. But if you roll a 6 on your precision die, then you are inviting another die to the party. Now, also, I might add that the precision damage, or any time you have the die explosion, that also goes up for healing die as well.
Nice.
And so far, I haven't written a lot of the spells yet. I've just gotten about maybe 30 spells down for cleric and about 35 for magic user. But most of the spells I'm using are basically D8s or D6s.
Okay.
For one shot, you don't need a whole lot right up front.
So the one thing in the Bible I'm not going to do. This is you're always going to be using these for your checks. These are never going to be initiative die. These are never going to be damage die. That way, we don't have to worry about things. It's kind of like what they did with the D20 and the D20 engine. You never saw a D20 used for anything more than saving throws, attack rolls, skill checks, etc.
Okay.
And these dice roll like shit, by the way.
Yeah, those are perfect Warhammer 40K dice.
Yep.
I know.
Oh. Can we play some Dark Heresy, please?
God, I would love to.
You know, we
You guys have
do
any other
have
questions?
more. I was gonna say we do have more planned games coming up. One of those could be Dark Heresy.
Max is like, I cannot get a weapon that does a D100 of damage. Lame.
I'm going to spend my time researching how to make the D100 weapon. It's mythological.
Garrett, do you have any questions on this?
No, I think it's pretty
Okay.
much straightforward. I just have to look and see how how you've got the cleric built out for when I play it. So
I'm not looking at having these characters be gimps, but keep in mind that the story for the game is that after a decade of does a percentile damage? No, the D10s. D10s are only for the checks. No D10s will be used for damage, nor a D100. the story so far is that the Union Guild of Coasters and Traders had romanced basically a mountain dwarf community after about 20 years of trade with them to beg them to allow them to keep a crew of people through the winter and prepare the coming springtime, the first spring thaw. They would have a donkey train headed down this mountain pass because the silver was so much needed. Also, by the way, silver will be the standard in this. So, Kai, if you're used to silver standards like in Pathfinder 2, okay. You are going to be basically the individuals with that horrible job of driving the armored car. You guys are not former mercenaries, but you look at it as your former mercenaries, but other people don't see you that way. I know, or don't did it before Pathfinder. That's fine. Drink, fucker.
You know, one of these days I'm gonna have to see if I can get into an Earth Dawn game.
I know. Me too.
No shit.
Jade, do you really need an excuse to drink?
No, I don't.
I mean, no.
But
hey,
the Dwarven
there's
community
lost, buddy.
finally allowed you to be the first group to be allowed to stay within the visitors' quarter over the winter. And it has been miserable because you really haven't gotten out much. They've kept you in basically 3 cabins for 4 months. And all you've done is watch the snowfall. You have a couple dwarves that talk to you. And because you are not dwarves, you do not get a lot of friendliness from these people. These are mountain dwarves. They are not hill dwarves. Mountain dwarves are renowned for their lack of charisma. So, as the month of April, or 4th month, is coming along, finally the temperatures are in the 20s, and that's where we will be starting this little one shot.
Now, question, because I tend to know how donkey runners run in your campaigns. Is there going to be like a random barbarian villain out there that's going to try to kill the donkeys?
No.
You have to admit that is a fair question.
It is a very fair question because it was a historical record. Fucking Greg. For those of you that don't know, we were having a perfectly fine game where donkey handlers were helping staff the donkeys, and then the players were running basically mercenaries protecting the donkey handlers. And as they were moving this wagon train along, they would find interesting things. And the Calhoun lady who was orchestrating the donkey handlers was like, listen, the donkeys could probably use a day or 2 of rest. If you want to go explore that dungeon, go ahead, but please be back soon. And so the party would get a chance to get off their horses and go do stuff and get experience and small bits of treasure or booty, whatever it might be. Well, one of the players did not like how all of the donkey handlers were mentally retarded because we had a character at our job that we had to deal with and spoke exactly like the donkey handlers. I wonder where I got that inspiration from. And so little Greg, playing his barbarian, massacred all 16 of my mentally retarded but socially very affluent with animals donkey handlers. He just he described the butchery that he was doing, and then after he killed them, he took his character sheet, ripped it up, and said, "I run to the hills," and then he left the apartment. leaving the rest of us in shock, like, what the fuck just happened? So, whenever Connell says things like that, that's a historical record that I have to recall for you because you guys weren't there. Or maybe you were, but, the others weren't.
I just, these are things that people need to know.
Yeah.
Is there a mad donkey serial killer out there?
So I'm taking a lot of inspiration, even though I'm writing this in the Frog God world. I took a lot of inspiration out of Harn, especially the Silver Way and Guthbridge and the Kuzdal, because they are written so well for the Harn world. So, what other questions do you have? Kai, you look like I've done something bad.
No, you haven't.
What did I do?
Nothing.
Yet.
Okay.
I'm just being quiet. That's all.
Do I continue to massacre the magic world and read about this ultimate spheres of power, or should I just put that book up? Sadly,
No, just I look. I'll play whatever you hand me, and I'll make it work.
okay. But like I'm not looking to get rich off this quote unquote game. I'm looking just to have a replacement for Pathfinder, because at some point it needs to happen.
Right. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to make any decisions until I get to play it. That's
Okay.
all.
Fair enough.
And then the aftermath, he's going to tear you apart.
Yeah, I'm going to get eviscerated by Kai.
No, won't. You're assuming I'll care enough.
Wow.
So I guess with that, that would be a good point to wrap up everything.
Wow, maybe even an entire career. Wow.
I'll enjoy it probably.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Continue to badger Legion of Myth, because he's talking about running a short Earth Dawn campaign to work on his GM skills. And continue to press that on him on his Discord channel. We'll be here next week with 5 characters for the party, and they will begin their excursion. If you've seen the movie The Sorcerer with Roy Schneider, then you know what I'm going to do to them.
I mean, don't show us your hand or anything.
I won't.
There you go. Smart ass.
Looking forward to next week, and we'll see how this works out. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it goes smooth. I think the system is pretty sound, because literally all I did was just lift the combat initiative system out of Hackmaster 5e, which I've played about 3 times, and I've absolutely loved it. I thought it was one of the most amazing things anybody's ever done in a fucking RP game. And it's like, that's your initiative system. Just count up. That's it. Okay.
Yeah. Kai hated it so much that his computer died.
Wow.
Oh no.
At some point, Kai's going to need to probably do what I do and have to start looking at Java computers or.
Oh no, he just built a new computer.
He just did?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay. Well, everybody, Shadow, I know you're doing a lot of stuff here lately with your son. What is the current run of videos you have going on? What's your current theme?
Well, actually, since we're in a new month, it's all giant stompy robots with a little bit of Dungeons and Lasers previews in there, because I just got my Kickstarter, so I'll be showing that off. But it's right there in the title, father and son just doing whatever hobby, craft, painting, review stuff sparks our fancy at the moment. And at this moment, we're going to be doing a little BattleTech, a little Cab, a little Gundam. Okay, a lot of Gundam. And anything else we think of.
Would you say Gundam style?
No.
Wow.
That's a totally different thing.
For those of you that didn't get the link earlier, the Discord is open, and Kai had a really good rant about basically just the state of gaming and where a person could go mentally while they're hoping things change for, I wouldn't say the better, but at least for the varied. Because we don't want things to get better. We want really things to just change enough to where we don't bitch about the same thing we bitched about last week.
And the week before that, and the week before that.
So check out.
Well, I'm sorry. Isn't this week GM burnout? Isn't that the thing we're supposed to talk about?
Well, everybody's talking about that, but again, everybody was talking about if you're into pop culture, they were talking about some crap with Kyle Brinks, and since WotC doesn't fucking register on my radar, I don't give two shits what WotC does. They could burn, and I wouldn't care. And I kind of pray for them to burn because, like, you've ruined Magic the Gathering, you've ruined Dungeons and Dragons. You're probably going to ruin My Little Pony and everything else you got your fucking insignia on the box art. So fuck you. Rot in hell. Die of cancer.
So you read my letter to Games Workshop. Wow.
Games Workshop is just as bad as WotC. They just aren't as rich. They have to put out another 3 editions of the game and what the whales will have to buy like 7 more complete fucking armies before they even have a sliver of Hasbro's wealth. Which is funny because Hasbro lost like what $124 million in a quarter. It's fucking glorious.
But the difference between Hasbro / WotC and Games Workshop is Games Workshop just does whatever the hell it wants and continues to go on, continuing trundling forward. Meanwhile, WotC somehow manages to go, we fuck it up bad every fucking somehow, and it gets a bigger and bigger dumpster fire. Meanwhile, you know what? I need a Necron army today. Fuck y'all.
Have you been inside a Games Workshop lately, Kai?
I don't know. I already have my Imperial Guard, my Necrons, and I have all the armies I would ever want and need. And periodically, I just go on eBay and buy random new shit to go add to the school collection. So I don't give a crap whatever they actually do anymore.
I wouldn't actually know where to find a physical site anymore because all the ones I know closed.
What do you mean a physical site? For what?
A game shop store, a store like in a mall.
You mean like a Games Workshop store where you can buy things but not play games there?
Right.
And you can like look at
Here's
stuff.
Here's the thing. Here's a big secret. Games Workshop doesn't give a fuck about North America. They don't. We live in the wrong country to be able to actually enjoy playing at enjoy, quote unquote, a GW store. If we're Americans, fuck us. And you know what?
Yeah, I have a store 5 minutes away, and I
guarantee you, if you talk to anybody who works there, they know, congratulations, you live in America. Fuck us. We're not important. Yes, but they don't give a shit. And more power to that company to have an attitude of, we don't give a shit. And I'm okay with that. Because I don't give a shit either.
I'd like to think that they don't suck, but they really suck.
They do suck. But you know what? They still write good books, or at least trashy fun books.
They write good schlock.
They write great schlock. The game itself sucks. I don't care. As long as I get a new book that involves shooting heretics, it's all right.
I want more Eisenhorn.
I want more Caiaphas Cain and more Tanis First and Only. Either way, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as I have those three, I don't care about anything else because the heresy was kind of crap.
Garrett, what are you doing on your
Yes.
channel? You just had, and I should have actually said this at the start of the show because I wanted to show you off for a second. You just did an interview with the son of the founder of Columbia Games.
Correct.
And you had a big, long conversation about the future direction of Harn.
Yeah, it was actually good, and really the way I wanted to go about it is because like myself, I didn't know a lot about Harn. I they gave me a few items and I kind of perused it and everything else and whatnot, but and if you watch that interview, a lot of that interview is directed more toward the folks who don't know a lot about that world. And he got me hooked a little bit because I even did a follow-up video, a couple hours after we did our video and did the live stream that I released the next day about my thoughts. And I think I might actually start digging deeper into Harn itself, and maybe even doing a few more videos on it.
I think you're about to level up as a GM.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm just going to say that Harn is wonderfully detailed. There's very few games out there that really compare to it. Shadow will tell you that Arduin is a very much a game that actually predated the level of detail that Harn has. I can't verify that, but Shadow would probably tell you that.
Yes, he would.
Other than that, what do you have coming up on your channel there, Garrett?
Like I said, I think I'm going to be looking at some of the more of the Harn material, and I think I may actually start doing some content on that coming up within the next week or so.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Connell, Sundays. What are you doing Sunday?
Sunday, I will be hanging out with Shadow, Gentleman Jack, Omanow, Mark, and whoever else decides to show up. I think even Bo might even show up, even maybe just in chat. And hunger is always welcome. I say that every Sunday, and I will continue to say that every Sunday. We will be talking about the 1980s Crawl movie, Krull. The ups, the downs, the love story, the weird eye monster, the weapon that makes no damn sense. That's what I'll be doing Sunday, and I might be doing a sneak peek of a module that I'm working on.
I think you need to actually pay close attention to who the Cyclops is. I believe that's the first time his character was killed off in a movie.
I know Liam Neeson's in it. Whoa, messed up that name.
Yeah, he's a Cyclops.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's the one of the bandits.
One of the bandits?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's the Cyclops?
Some other old British actor. I'm granted, I think they're all British actors. I think the Prince might be the only American in the movie.
I swore that the Liam Neeson.
No, actually, Connell, the female lead.
Yeah.
She doesn't even speak English.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I caught that. But
so which is kind of weird.
To each their own.
Monday, if you guys are.
Never mind. I'll say that for the show.
Monday, me and Janet are reviewing and discussing the Ridley Scott classic from 1984, 86. I can't remember. It's called Legend.
Oh God.
Yeah. We're gonna do a three-peat of 80s fantasy films. I think we're gonna hit Legend. What's the other one?
Wasn't that on our list of possibilities this past month, Shadow?
Yeah, we'll have to wait.
Yeah, I'm
You
glad
gonna
that
do
we did.
Beastmaster there, Bruce?
Legend, Labyrinth, and what's the one where Rutger Hauer, Michelle Pfeiffer, one's the hawk and
Lady
one's
Hawk.
the wolf.
Lady Hawk.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
already did Labyrinth and the other ones we talked about because those are great 80s fantasy movies.
You
Well-
got to do Beastmaster there, Bruce.
I know we got to do anything with Mark Singer and his shirt off. We're gonna have to review that just to satisfy Janet. She's ravenous.
Because she is from another planet.
I'm looking forward to doing those discussions with her. She's funny as hell. Looking forward to that. For the rest of you, I appreciate the 4 of you that are here on YouTube watching, and we will be wrapping this up within short order. Appreciate you being here, spending the time that you have with us, and we look forward to spending more time with you here in the future. Saturday, Connell and I are going to be at the table, and look forward to that. Until then, I thank you so much.
God bless.